Okay, lovely people, welcome to another episode of Reformer. All right, so in this episode, we're talking about sexual attraction. Okay, how to become sexually attractive to the other sex. Okay, so when it comes to sexual attraction, okay, about four things that I want us to be cognizant of. Okay, four things. First one being actual value, second one being perceived value, third one being fantasy, the last one being mystery. Okay, for anyone who wants to be sexually attractive, you have to bear in mind these four things. Okay, all right. So now let's get into it. Okay, I see this. All right, so this is a 50 Ghana cedis note. Okay, 50 Ghana cedis note. All right, guess what? You see, when I showed you the 50 cedis note, what came to your mind? I think for different people, it was different things, different perception that came to mind. Okay, now the actual value is 50 Ghana cedis, but the perceived value is different across board. Various people see the various values of the 50 cedis note. Okay, now you what just happened was just basically you casting your fantasies. Okay, you casting your fantasies onto the 50 cedis note. What you think it can do for you. Okay, so basically it is the 50 cedis note, right? But as to whether you can buy what you think it can buy, it's a different thing altogether. But in the meantime, you are caught in the fantasy of thinking that 50 cedis note can get you what you think it can get you. So that's basically sexual attraction. Sexual attraction is basically the process of being able to convey yourself, bring yourself, show yourself up in a way that makes the opposite sex feel or fantasize and project their whole fantasies onto you in a way that makes them think they can get what their fantasies are. But then guess what? In reality, it's not. Basically, what the other person is projecting onto the opposite sex. Usually the fantasy and the reality do not, they do not intersect. Usually it doesn't happen. Usually it doesn't happen. What you project and what happens, what you project and what the person actually is are two different things. Okay. So that's what sexual attraction. So if you want to be sexually attractive, you want to basically bring yourself, show yourself up in a way that the opposite sex, okay, or the type of person that you want as a guy, the type of girl that I want, will see me and want to project her fantasies onto me. Okay, basically that's what the sexual attraction entails. So basically, I have to go to the gym. Okay, because okay, let me run through this. Okay, so for a guy to be sexually attractive, you have to look like a provider, you have to look like an emotional support, and also have to look like a protector. Okay, so how do you go to, how do you apply these things? So let me run us through it. So to look like a protector, there's a biological shape or form that a guy has to possess: broad shoulder, tiny waist. Okay, so your shoulder to waist ratio should have a certain proportion. You should have that V shape about you from your shoulder to your waist. That gives that protective energy, that protective vibes to ladies. It's a biological thing. Okay, it's a psychological thing. Like, there's nothing to do about it. When the guy looks like that, it gives that protective vibes. Okay. Also, so that's why gym bros are better suited to get most of the girls. You understand? Okay, and also the emotional companionship part of things, that's where you basically put yourself or you create yourself in a way that makes them feel like you can feel a certain emotional void in her life. Okay, we are all moving as halves of something, halves of a perception. So if you can bring yourself up, show yourself in a way that makes the opposite sex feel like you can be the other half that they are missing. You may not necessarily be that half, but if you can create an image, you understand that the opposite sex can project their fantasies onto you in order to make them feel like you are that missing half, you are sexually attractive. Okay, and also the final part is the provider part. Okay, so you want to be able to present yourself in a way that makes her feel you can provide. You may not necessarily be able to provide to the level that she wants, but it's, as I said, being able to bring yourself in a way, okay, present yourself in a manner that makes her feel you can provide. Okay, so how do you gel everything together? How do you gel everything together? So the process of gelling everything together is what we call mystery. Okay, mystery. You should have some mystery about you. Okay, and how do you have some mystery about you? You go to the gym, you get all these positive attributes. You dress nice, you do all these things, you read some books, you do all these things, and then you shut up. You shut up, you shut up, you shut up as much as you possibly can. You shut up as much as you possibly can. Because the lady would want to know you. Okay, she would want to, see what's inside, what's under the hood, what's under the hood. But the moment the person gets to know that child, this is who you are, and the fantasy is just blown out of the water. Just face it, just diffuses. So you want to shut up as much as you possibly can. You want to hide as much as you possibly can. You want to be as mysterious as you possibly can, because the more the mystery is demystified, the less attractive you, sexually attractive you become. Sexually attractive. All right, that'll be that for this video. Catch you another time. Peace, be safe. Bye bye.